Hello and welcome to the Carl Jackson Show. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. You can find me on all things social media at the Carl Jackson Show. Subscribe to my podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. This has been a huge week, just like last week was when President Trump dominated the presidential election. There's been more fallout from the left, more meltdown from the left, but nonetheless, President Trump continues to roll on, or President-elect Trump, as I should correctly call him as of now. And what President-elect Trump has done is he has given us some of his picks for his cabinet, for his administration, and with the exception of one, which I'll get into, the picks have been really good in my opinion. And plus, it's showing us, and it shows the left, quite frankly, that President Trump will be ready and able to operate as president and his administration, get his administration going on day one. So I want to go through some of the names that we know thus far. Now, some of these will need Senate confirmation. We'll get into that, and some will not. But I think the picks overall are really good picks. And again, these picks coming out so early will help President Trump to hit the ground running. I want to start with this. It doesn't seem like anything major. I think it is. I think it's the perfect man for the job. Governor Mike Huckabee has been picked to be the ambassador to Israel. Now, why is that important? I think that's important. First off, we all know that Governor Mike Huckabee, our former Governor Mike Huckabee, is a devout believer. He's a major supporter of Israel. That shows a sign to the Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, who our ally is. I mean, frankly. And Israel is our ally. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, and they are our ally. The Bible is clear that God will bless those who bless thee, speaking of Israel, and he will curse those who curse thee. Now, you may not be a believer, but I do believe it is in our best interest to support Israel. Doesn't mean we're going to agree with everything, but I can say these are the people that are trying their best to uphold democracy in the Middle East and Western civilization in the Middle East. And so I wholeheartedly agree with that pick. Elise Stefanik to be the UN ambassador. Now, why is this an important pick? And obviously, listen, I'm going to get to some bombs, some great picks, but even these small picks, I think they're strategic and I think they're smart. Elise Stefanik, let me be real with you guys. She has she basically votes like a Democrat. I mean, her conservative voting record is she's a very moderate Republican at best, but she is a firebrand. If you've seen her in Congress, when it comes to some of the woke stuff, the anti-Semitic stuff, I think she will be a great pick. I think she's a great pick for for the UN ambassador, just like quite frankly Nikki Haley was. Nikki Haley surprised us last time. I didn't realize I was never the biggest Nikki Haley fan. When she went to the UN, man, she was a great UN ambassador. I believe Elise Stefanik, especially with her history of law, her knowledge of the law, and just honestly, her ability to question and speak as well as she does, her courage. I think she's just going to be a great ambassador for the United States at the UN, and quite frankly, put a lot of people in their place. And I'm going to enjoy watching that. So I think this is a great position, great position for her. And so I'm appreciative of that. Another one, former Green Beret Representative Mike Waltz. Now, I have to tell you that I paused on this for a second. And guys, forgive me. I'm not a military guy, but I just didn't know the extent of Representative Mike Waltz history. And obviously, we do have to be a little bit concerned. And I think all of these seats are safe. But I would prefer not to pick people out of Congress because I think we're going to have a thin majority. Having said that, hopefully we will get someone as good, if not better, than Representative Mike Waltz in Congress to represent his district. But he will be the national security advisor. Now, as a Green Beret, he was in charge of coordinating operations. I didn't know that. I didn't understand what the Green Beret, being a Green Beret entailed. I heard him explain it I believe it was to our colleague Hugh Hewitt, if I'm not mistaken. And so now, after hearing that, I'm like, man, this is a perfect guy for the job. Actually, I'm sorry, this needs no Senate approval for the National Security Advisor, which means he can hit the ground running on day one. So the job will entail coordinating among all the top national security agencies, briefing the president, and executing his policies. So I think that'll be great for President Trump. I think this is a great step for Representative Mike Waltz, and I think that will be. I think it's a good pick. Former ICE director John Homan. Now I think. Tom Homan, excuse me. Now, I had the privilege of interviewing Tom Homan on an occasion. I believe I was sitting in for Larry Elder at the time. This is an excellent pick. He's picked as the border czar. This way, he doesn't have to wait for Senate confirmation. I think it would have been a battle. I think the left would have done everything they could to prevent Tom Homan from becoming the border czar or to becoming head of DHS or whatever it may have been, and we'll get to that pick in just a second. But I do want to go to this real quick. Let's play video clip number 13. This is Tom Homan, and this is a relatively long video, 3 minutes. But just be patient with me here. I think you're going to enjoy this video. This is Kamala Harris versus Tom Homan as border czar. Let's go ahead and roll that, please, Gabe.
Up with education, down, down with deportation. Up with education, down, down with deportation.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
We are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
I hear a lot of people say, the talk of a mass deportation is racist. It's threatening to the immigrant community. It's not threatening to the immigrant community. It should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
It is not an emergency. We are not facing a crisis.
We have a president of the United States who has created a fiction about a crisis at the border, and he has held up the United States government and its workers around his vanity project called a wall.
To the criminal cartels in Mexico. You smuggled enough fentanyl across this country to kill 148,000 young Americans. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. And that's when President Trump gets back in office. He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. You're done. You're done.
The idea that he is trying to say that we have people that are trying to invade our country to commit mass crime is a crisis of his own making.
I specialize in transnational criminal organizations.
Yeah.
That wall ain't gonna stop them.
No.
There's a 600% increase in the sex trafficking of women and children. Border Patrol has arrested more terrorists coming across the border in 1 month than Trump had in 4 years. This is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever had. Donald Trump will be the president. I'll be in the middle of running the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen.
I am not for a wall.
We don't need to build a wall. This is a crisis of his own making.
The president of the United States has a vanity project that he doesn't want to give up.
It's the president's vanity project.
This issue is about a vanity project for this president.
Right. The president's vanity project?
Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances. It will not end with a wall. It will not end with a wall.
It will not end with a wall?
No.
All right.
He comes back, I come back, we fix this.
Okay, so that was Tom Homan versus Kamala Harris, and I'll let you pick. Who would you prefer to be the border czar? By far and away, for me, it is Tom Homan. I think this is an excellent pick. I would have been okay with Mark Morgan. Quite frankly, I would have been okay with Tom Homan at the head of DHS. given the fact that they oversee Customs and Border Patrol agents, ICE, and all of these other departments. But I think it would have been hard to get him in that position. I think the Senate, the Democrats in the Senate, would have fought hard to make sure that he did not get that position. And Lord knows there's enough weak-kneed Republicans that may have caved as well. So I think President Trump made the right move. Now, there are people out there that will say, what about the cost? Well, I mean, it's going to cost billions and billions and billions of dollars to send these illegal immigrants back to their countries. Well, how much is it going to cost us in the long term? Honestly, all we have to do, all the money that they spent bringing them here, it's worth investing, sending them back, in my opinion. That way we don't have to worry about them taking jobs from middle class and poor Americans. We don't have to worry about the increase in crime or scarce resources, whether it comes to healthcare or overcrowded classrooms. I'd like to know what costs they have on society. They have to go back. All right. And we will be back with more on the other side. This is the Carl Jackson Show. You stay tuned. So the story of My Pillow is a testament to faith and transformation. Mike Lindell, once battling addiction, found a new path when he embraced faith and began following Jesus Christ. In gratitude, Mike is excited to share an exclusive offer with our listeners. Right now, the standard My Pillow is available for just $14.88, a savings that's too good to pass up. Now, there is a limit. It's only 10 per customer. So don't wait to take advantage of this amazing deal right now using the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Mike believes that God gave him the idea for My Pillow in a dream, and it's designed with your comfort in mind. The pillow holds its shape and adapts perfectly to your unique sleep position, helping keep your neck aligned for the best night's sleep. And there's more. You can take home a 4-piece kitchen set for only $25. Enjoy their new mattress topper starting at just $99.99, and pick up the luxurious My Pillow bed sheets starting at $49.98. Visit mypillow.com or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, to unlock huge discounts. Don't miss out. Order today. Hello and welcome back to the program. Now, before we went to the break, I was talking to you about some of Trump's picks. I'm going to go through some more of his picks, but I'm also going to be showing you some video of what the left really fears. Now, Trump has come out with some proposals that I want you to listen to. We'll go through those in just a second. Also, we're going to talk about some of the executive orders that he's likely to implement, and also some that he's likely to reverse on day one. And listen, guys, I feel very confident that Trump will not be a lame duck president. That was one of my concerns. But we've got the Senate, we've got the House. If Trump can pull off some of these promises that he's made, if he can get inflation down, if he can help the wages increase by getting inflation down, that is going to be huge for him. Securing the border, that's going to be huge for him. People see crime decreasing. Hopefully some Democrats even will get a clue and start hiring more police and training police and paying police and not demonizing police. But I want to get back to some of Trump's picks because I think he has picked some really great people for the most part. So we talked about Tom Homan. You guys watched the video at in the last block. But he's also picked Stephen Miller for Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Now, you guys know that Stephen Miller was a White House advisor in Trump's first term. He was a border hawk. The left can't stand him. It's actually why I absolutely love him. I think that's huge. Also, we got news that both Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to lead the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, the left is going apoplectic because they're saying it's illegal to create this new Department of Government Efficiency. Why? So Trump is going to do that, and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to look at spending in government, see where it could be cut, should be cut, and advise. I absolutely love that. Trump understands that he has a legacy. He's got one shot at this thing. He's no longer a two-termer. He's a one-termer, and he's not trying to go in and be a lame duck. It seems to me with these picks coming so quickly that he's saying on day one, we're going to hit the ground running, and I can't wait. Now, this is one that shocked me, but I got to tell you, I'm totally pleased with it. Pete Hegseth, 2 Bronze Stars to serve as Secretary of Defense. This is huge news. We all see Pete Hegseth on Fox News, and we thoroughly enjoy him. But now he's going to serve as Secretary of Defense. I honestly think, listen, obviously this is going to be a huge job for him. Let's see, Lloyd Austin, Pete Hegseth. Yeah, I'm going to take Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth that's got 2 Bronze Stars. Listen, I did not serve in the military, but I can say with all this wokeness and this DEI madness inside of the military, I am confident that Pete Hegseth is going to go in and make sure that our military, again, are lean, mean, fighting machines. We're going to get rid of this wokeness and this DEI. And I'm convinced that under President Trump and Pete Hegseth at the helm of Secretary of Defense, that our recruitment numbers are going to go up. And I think they're going to weed out some of these generals that are just completely woke and useless. Here's another great pick, John Ratcliffe for CEI director. He once served as Trump's director of national intelligence during the first term. Now he's a staunch Trump supporter. Now you have many people on the left, right? Many people on the left that are talking about, well, all of these Trump loyalists, they kissed the ring. Guys, let me tell you something. When you're in the Democrat Party, you cannot stray from a talking point. Otherwise, they will kick you to the curb. You're not allowed to be a free thinker inside of the Democrat Party. So these people, Trump is going to put in place. Obviously, they're going to follow his lead. They're going to follow his agenda, but they're going to use their own brain cells to do it. They're going to have to use critical thinking. They're going to have to bring good ideas to President-elect Trump, where he will make the final decisions. John Ratcliffe, a lot of people are talking about releasing some of the things that we saw in the past. Listen, I want to get the CIA cleaned up. Yeah, sure. I'd love to see the JFK files and all of that great stuff somewhere down the line. It's not my main priority. I want to make sure that the CIA is cleaned up, that the CIA is doing the job that they're supposed to do, and they're being the preeminent spy agency of the world. So I'm looking forward to that. Governor Kristi Noem will be head of the Department of Homeland Security. Now, this is a pick I got to be honest with you. I'm not fond of. I hope that I will be pleasantly surprised, but it's not one that I'm particularly fond of. And I will tell you why. It's as simple as this. For me, Kristi Noem, obviously a governor, a successful governor, but also successful because of her state legislature. Now, during the COVID lockdown, she took a lot of credit for being first and making sure that her state wasn't locked down, but that was only because the legislature forced her hand. Now, she did eventually back off, but it wasn't from her own initiative, and she kind of kowtowed to the trans posse, if you will, and refused to veto. Or she did veto some bills from the legislature that would have straight out banned males participating in female sports in her state of South Dakota. And later she signed a couple of watered down executive orders, and this was after she was criticized on Tucker Carlson's program. But anyway, that's that. So listen, I don't doubt that she could be good at this job. I think it is a huge job. I'm not sure if she's the right pick for that. I hope that she proves me wrong. I want her to prove me wrong. And so I will be praying for her in this position, that she does well, and President Trump trusts her. So I suspect that he'll encourage her, and she'll learn quickly. Senator Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. This is another one I got to admit. Initially, I was like, and I'm from Florida. Senator Marco Rubio is my senator. He tends to be on the moderate side. He tends to be more of a war hawk. But I got to tell you, given the more that I've thought about it, given the positions that we're in today, where I feel like we're closer to World War III, maybe it's savvy to have a Senator Marco Rubio in your ear. I mean, this guy understands foreign policy forwards and backwards, and obviously Trump will make the final decision, just as he did when Pompeo was there. So good pick on it. The more that I think about that pick with Senator Marco Rubio, I think a good pick there. Now, here's what I want to do. This is why these picks are so important, because you're going to need people with a backbone, people that are willing to be loyal to the president, that wants to fulfill his agenda. That's their job, quite frankly. So let's go through some of these videos, Gabe. And now I don't have the let's play the first. Let's just play the first one. For whatever reason, my laptop is acting up here. But let's play the very first one of former or now President-elect Donald Trump, and hear what he has to say, because he's talking about the Department of Education and all of these things that he's proposing doing right off the bat. Video clip number 2, please, Gabe.
Tuition costs at colleges and universities have been exploding, and I mean absolutely exploding, while academics have been obsessed with indoctrinating America's youth. The time has come to reclaim our once great educational institutions from the radical left, and we will do that. Our secret weapon will be the college accreditation system. It's called accreditation for a reason. The accreditors are supposed to ensure that schools are not ripping off students and taxpayers, but they have failed totally. When I return to the White House, I will fire the radical left accreditors that have allowed our colleges to become dominated by Marxist maniacs and lunatics. We will then accept applications for new accreditors who will impose real standards on colleges once again and once and for all. These standards will include defending the American tradition and Western civilization, protecting free speech, eliminating wasteful administrative positions that drive up costs incredibly, removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats, offering options for accelerated and low-cost degrees, providing meaningful job placement and career services, and implementing college entrance and exit exams to prove that students are actually learning and getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. Thank you.
That's one of the main reasons why they hate former president, now President-elect Trump. The college campuses have been breeding grounds for leftists, and he's telling them he's putting an end to that nonsense. That's a lasting legacy. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.